Okay, we're good.
All right. Good evening, everybody. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Welcome to the City Commission meeting of July 26th, 2022. We want to welcome you all here. At this time, I'll ask Mrs. Manning to call the roll.
Commissioner Penny?
Here.
Commissioner Curry?
Here.
Commissioner Danio?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Mayor Villa?
Here. And at this time, I'll also remind anybody, if you have an electronic device like a cell phone, please put that on mute. I will do the same. And I will ask you all to please stand for the invocation led by our Vice Mayor, John Penny, and afterwards continue standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Will you pray with me? Dear gracious God, we thank you for another beautiful day. We thank you for the ability to meet freely and discuss the business of the city of Holly Hill. Please help us to conduct our meeting in accordance with your will and your blessings. Help us to concentrate on the things we agree with rather than the things we differ on. Please protect all that protect and serve our nation, our state, our county, and our great city of Holly Hill. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Vice Mayor. And tonight we have a budget agenda item, which is number 2 on our agenda, and that's number 1, Resolution 2022-R-51. Mr. Forte?
Opening.
All right. We will wait. And are you going to read that into the record, or do you want Susan to?
And I'll read it.
You gotta read it in the entirety.
Yeah.
Have to read the whole thing. It's cold in here.
Okay, so I'm going to read this resolution. I'm going to read the resolution in its entirety. Typically, we read by title only, but for this, I'll read it in its entirety. A resolution of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, adopting a proposed millage rate for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2022, providing for a public hearing on millage rate, providing for conflicting resolutions, and providing an effective date. Whereas the City Commission of the City of Holly Hill, Florida is required by Florida Statute 200.011 to certify to the county property appraiser the general municipal millage rate proposed by said commission for the tax year beginning October 1, 2022. And whereas the City Commission of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, pursuant to the Trim Bill, should hold a public hearing adopting proposed millage rate. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Commission of the City of Holly Hill, Florida. Section 1, the millage rate proposed by the City Commission of the City of Holly Hill, Florida for the tax year beginning October 1, 2022 is 6.25. That is 6.25 per 1,000. The fiscal year 2022 operating millage rate is 6.25 mils, which is greater than the rollback rate of 5.6850 mils by 9.94%. City Commission, Section 2, the City Commission does hereby set a public hearing on the millage rate for 6 p.m. on Monday, September 12, 2022, in the City Commission chambers at 1065 Ridgewood Avenue in Holly Hill, Florida. Section 3, that all resolutions made in conflict with this resolution are hereby repealed. Section 4, this resolution shall become effective immediately upon its adoption. I just want to make note that we moved that meeting in September to the first Monday so that it's not in conflict with the school board.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And Mrs. Lincoln, do you have a presentation for us tonight?
Susan Lincoln, Finance Director for the City of Holly Hill. As Mr. Forte read the resolution according to Florida statute that we have to present to the commission to approve. Remember that this is the maximum millage rate that needs to be set, and then at the 2 meetings that we're going to hold, the commission can obviously lower the rate if they ask. In there, the commission or the city manager must certify the taxable value by this Friday, and that's submitting the DR 420, the DR 420 TIF, and the DR 420 MMP forms, of which the city manager is going to sign. If you have any questions, I can address them at this time.
Perfect. Are there any questions for staff? Thank you very much,
Thank
Susan,
you.
and thank you for spending so much time on this budget here. With that, we'll open this up to the public. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this item tonight? All right. Seeing none, I will close public participation, and I will entertain a motion for approval, I will entertain a motion to set the maximum proposed millage rate at the current rate of 6.25.
I'll make a motion that we set the millage rate at the proposed 6.25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion?
No.
I just want to say, for transparency purposes, we have, as a commission and our staff has gone over this budget line by line and held workshops to discuss this. And as everyone knows, we are in some difficult times right now for businesses and governments alike with the increase in just about anything that you have out there with inflation. And when we look at our gas prices for the city going up over 70%, and of course we had to fund wage increases this past budget and continuing this budget, and of course supporting our law enforcement. So tonight we are voting on the maximum millage rate, and it can't go up from there, but we will have 2 other meetings to actually set the actual rate. So with that, is there any further discussion? We'll go ahead and take a vote at this time. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Now, we will move to the public comments section of our city commission meeting tonight. This is anything that the audience wants to talk about that is not on our regular agenda here tonight. I want to remind everyone that you will have 5 minutes to speak if you wish to do so, and I ask you to be respectful to everyone else's time here and keep it to 5 minutes. When your 5 minutes is up, Mrs. Manning will ring a bell, and I will ask you quickly to finish your sentence, not your paragraph, your sentence. We have to enforce these rules to make sure that everyone has the same amount of time. So with that, I will open up public comments. Raise your hand if you would like to speak to the commission tonight about anything not on our regular agenda. Yes, sir. Mr. Vargas. And please state your name and address for the record, then you have 5 minutes.
My name is Gabriel Varga. I'm the pastor of the Ridgewood Avenue Baptist Church and the Daytona Rescue Mission, 501 Ridgewood Avenue. I'm here today I brought some of my church members. They're going to read a little scripture here. And we're concerned with the homeless and the poor. We always have been. And I'm very hopeful that the mayor and the commissioners are concerned with the homeless and poor also. It's a personal decision for each individual. I can't mandate you to do it or anyone else, but our church is big time into it, and we're going to be more into it than we ever have. We're going to help more poor, and we're going to do more to the least, the last, and the lost than we ever had. The scriptures that folks from our church are going to read today have to do with the poor that are mandated in the Bible. They're very clear and very concise. We're involved at this time. Boy, time goes fast. Hard for a preacher to stay 5 minutes.
And a politician.
Do you have special exemptions for preachers? Now, anyway, we're involved with Dennis Rolle, R-O-L-L-E, who became part of our church, a very happy member of our church. He was taken by Protective Services and the Holly Hill Police Department out of the care of the church and put back into a harmful place, people that are abusing him. I made contact with the judge yesterday, tried to have this thing reopened, and the person that is abusing him is a guardian. Sometimes that's hard to do, but with the help of God, we believe that it will. Our church members and myself got to know him very well. He's a resident of Holly Hill, and he was happy as could be. He loved our church, loved the things we were doing. He could not stand to be where he was. He was abused, slapped around. I believe them with all my heart. Been a pastor for 50 years. I know people. I know where they're coming from. I know when they're lying and when they ain't. Someone will fool you once in a while, but I've been around the block a number of times. This guy is real, and he's been abused, and he's in harm's way. I'm just praying that the judge will reopen this and have it carefully looked at, that he could be freed from the bondage that he's in. So that's what we're all about at Ridgewood Avenue Baptist Church and the Daytona Rescue Mission, that are in the same building and are pretty much one and the same. We want to help the poor, and I hope each of the commissioners and the mayor, that will be your agenda. We're praying that we'll have city officials that will work to that end, and we're going to pray that every official that is represented here is voted on, commissioners or the mayor, would be in that stead. And if they're not, that God would put people in their stead that is concerned about the homeless and the poor. So we're looking for friends at City Hall. That's what we're looking for. They're going to read some scripture, and it'll tell you, because we're mandated. That's our marching orders, is the Bible. I hope it's yours. I don't know. I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for any of you of where you get your marching orders from. But so my folks are going to come and read a little. Brother Pruitt's here. He's my board member. I don't know what he's going to say. Hard to tell. I ought to give him 10 minutes. He's been here 42 years ago, I guess he built his church. My dear friend, my best friend in town. So I'll surrender 34 seconds. Who wants to go up? Billy Joe, you going to?
All right, and
Can I speak from right here? I'm having trouble getting up and down. I fell right before I got over here today.
you won't be able to hear
I got a
it.
strong voice.
Yeah, I know, but can he just talk loudly from there for, we just want to, just try to speak loudly so the microphone's kind of, it's just because it is public record.
Strong voice.
Yes, sir, you're allowed to, and sir,
And,
before you begin, excuse me, sir, you'll have 5 minutes, and that'll start, you can't surrender and give other people time. You will have 5 minutes on your own, okay?
Okay,
His name.
And what is your name, sir?
my name is Billy Joe Wedby.
Billy Joe Wedby?
Wedby,
Okay,
and H-E-D-B-E-E.
Yes, sir.
I've known him for about 15 years. He's a good friend of mine, and I believe he does wonderful things for the homeless people around here. So I'm going to read a little bit of scripture, and in James, the second chapter. My brother, have not faith our Lord Jesus Christ, the Lord of glory, with respect to persons. For there come unto you assembly of a man of a gold ring and goodly apparel, and there come also a poor man in vile raiment, and ye have respect to him that weareth the gay clothing, and say unto him, sit here on a good place, and to the poor, stand there, or sit here under my footstool. Are you not then partial to your own selves, and are become judges of evil thoughts? Hearken, my beloved brethren, hath not God chose the poor of this world, rich in faith, and heirs of the kingdom, which he hath promised to them that love him? But ye have despised the poor. Do not rich men oppress you, and draw you before the judgment seats? Do not they blaspheme that worthy name of by which ye are called? And if you fulfill the royal law according to the scripture, neighbor as thyself, ye do well. But if you have respect of persons, ye commit sin and are convinced of the law as transgressors. For whosoever shall keep the whole law and yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all. For he has said, do not commit adultery. Also, and said also, do not kill. Now if thou committest adultery, yet if thou kill, thou art become a transgressor of the law. so speak ye, and so do as they that shall be judged by the law of liberty. For he shall have judgment without mercy, that show no mercy, and mercy rejoices against judgment. What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he hath faith and have not works? Can faith save him? If thy brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding you give them not those things which are needful to the body, but what doth it profit? Even so, faith, if it hath not works, is dead, being alone. Yea, a man may say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without works, and I will show you my faith by my works. Thou believest that there is one God, thou doest well. The devils believe and tremble. But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead? Was not Abraham our father justified by works when he offered Isaac his son upon the altar? Seest thou faith wrought with works, and my works was made perfect? And the scripture also fulfilling faith, Abraham believed God, and it was imputed unto him righteousness, and he was called the friend of God. And you see then how that by works man is justified, and not by faith only, but likewise also was not Rahab the harlot justified by works, when she received the messenger and has sent them out another way. For as the body without spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Webby. And just for anyone listening back to this or online, for the record, we allowed you to speak from your seat, so you might have not been able to hear online, but that is because of a physical thing. So just wanted to put that into the record. Thank you, Mr. Webby. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the City Commission? Yes, sir, Mr. Pruitt.
I'm Pastor Johnny Pruitt. I pastor Faith Baptist Church over here on Flemish, and I've been there just about 42 years. And Brother Wagner has started off as in using our office there to start the rescue mission, and has been a friend a long time. I'm here to say that Brother Varga, I know has been some disagreements as with the city and with him and so forth, just a thing. But he's doing what he feels that God has led him to do. And I've followed him close by in the last years, and he's been a friend. I may not agree with everything with Brother Varga, and he don't agree with everything with me, no doubt. But anyway, we just choose to disagree, and so thank you. But I say that he is. I believe is here because he's got a camper, and he don't live in it, but he got it hooked up where he can go into it privately and study and so forth. And my hearing of what is happening, then so the city is against him on that, and so forth. But I believe what he does. I have a camper myself that I don't study in it, got it hooked up. And you have to keep them hooked up because, the heat inside will be damaging and so forth. But anyway, I have that. And but if I needed a quiet place to go in and study, I believe it'd be all right, and to do that. And so that's what I'm here, as just to say, Brother Parker is a great friend and is also a great man of God. Amen. All right. God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Pruitt. All right. Who else would like to speak tonight? Yes, sir. Sorry, you'll be next, ma'am. Yep. Yes, sir. Just state your name and address for the record.
I'm Minister George A. Clark, 551 North Lincoln Street, Daytona Beach, Florida. And I live in Zone 2. Ken Strickland is my commissioner. And to the mayor, commissioners, and all other city officials, I came here on behalf of my friend. We worked together in Daytona Beach as volunteer chaplain for the police department since the 80s. And I'm a veteran of the United States Army. I'm an ordained preacher, pastored 13 years in Columbia County, Lake City, Florida, where I was born. New Jerusalem Missionary Baptist Church. I'm a member of Greater Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, 539 George Ingram Boulevard in Daytona Beach. For 60 years, I've been a member there. And I believe in God. And one thing we said in our pledge to the flag, that last line, and that's powerful, that last line, one nation under God, with liberty and justice for all. My friend, if you don't do it, you'll lose it. It's not me. I'm not so smart, that's a fact. See, if you claim something with your mouth and don't do it, you lose it. We have married 62 years. If I claim that's my wife and we ain't got no marriage license, sooner or later something gonna happen. Hey, I love you. I'm telling you the truth. If you claim something and don't do it, you'll lose it. We say we love the poor, feed them. And this is what he's been doing. He had a problem in Daytona Beach, Florida years ago, trying to establish a mission. And we claim, God said it, feed the poor. If you don't do it, it's gonna cause problems. And sometimes we be blaming somebody else for the mess we made. God bless you, I love you. God bless you. And right now, I got 62 years marriage, and she called me on the phone. I apologize for my phone going off. She checking on me, I can't be out after dark.
That's all right. Thank you, Mr. Clark. Is there anyone else in the audience? Oh, yes, ma'am. I told you. Just state your name and address for the record, and then you'll have 5 minutes.
My name is Karen Kessler. I live in 500 Holly Hill. I'd like to read a scripture. And behold, a certain lawyer stood up and tempted him, saying, Master, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? He said unto him, What is written in the law? How readest thou? And he answered, said, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all the heart, and with all thy soul, and all the strength, and thy mind, and thy neighbor as thyself. And he said unto him, Thou hast answered right, this do, and thou shalt live. But he is willing to justify himself unto Jesus, and who is my neighbor. And Jesus answered, said, A certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and fell among thieves, which stripped him of his raiment, and wounded him, and departed, leaving him half dead. And by chance there came down a certain priest that way, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. As likewise a Levite, when he was at the place, came and looked on him, and passed him on the other side. But a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was, and where he saw him, he had compassion on him. And he went to him and bound him his wounds, pouring in oil and wine, and set on his own beast, and brought him to an inn, and took care of him. And on the morrow, when the departed, he took out 2 pence and gave them to the host, and said unto him, Take care of him, and whatsoever thou spendest more when I come again, I will pay thee. Which now of these 3 things thou was neighbor unto him that fell among the thieves? And he said, He that showeth mercy on him. Then said Jesus unto him, Go and do thou likewise. Amen.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mayor, I'm sorry, I didn't catch her address.
Ridgewood Avenue, 500 Ridgewood Avenue.
That's the church.
It's across the street.
500.
Across the street.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience that would like? Yes, sir. And please just state your name and address for the record, and then you'll have 5 minutes.
My name's Jake Jacobson, 108 Palm Place.
Jake.
Jacobson. 108 Palm Place, Daytona Beach, Florida. I'm reading from Matthew 25, verse 31. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come ye blessed, O my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungered, and you gave me meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee hungered and fed thee, or thirsty and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger and took thee in, or naked and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick or in prison and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungered, and you gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you took me not in. Naked, and you clothed me not. Sick and in prison, and you visited me not. Then shall they also answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee hungered, athirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did it not to one of the least of these, ye did it not to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jacobson. All right, is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak to the commission about anything not on our regular agenda tonight? All right, seeing none, I'll close public comments, and we move to the next agenda item, which is the approval of the minutes. We have the minutes before us from July 12, 2022 Budget Workshop, Enterprise Funds, and the July 12th regular City Commission meeting. Can I have a motion for approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second of the approval of the minutes. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on the minutes tonight? Seeing none, I'll close public participation. We have a vote. Any discussion needed? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries unanimously. All right, and now we're moving to our consent agenda, items 1 through 5. Is there a city commissioner that would like to remove any item for further discussion tonight? Seeing none, then the action proposed is stated for each item on the consent agenda. Unless the city commissioner removes an item from the consent agenda, no discussion on individual items will occur, and a single motion will approve all items. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on any item on our consent agenda tonight? Seeing none, I'll close public participation on the consent agenda, and I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda, moved by Commissioner Danio, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The consent agenda passes unanimously. We do not have any regular agenda items or public, so we'll move down to our public hearings tonight. And number 1, we have the revised preliminary plat, final engineering for phases 3 and 4 of the Mirage subdivision located on the south side of Alabama Avenue and the north side of Flomish Avenue. Mr. Forte, do you have anything for us?
We'll go straight to Brian. We'll pull the map up on the overhead.
Awesome. All right, Mr. Walker, the floor is yours.
Mayor, Commissioners. The Mirage subdivision is a 30.09 acre parcel. It's located, as mentioned, on the south side of Alabama Avenue and on the north side of Flomish. There was originally a plat that created 161 lots, and that was approved by the city back in January of 2007. Through the years, there have been modifications to the subdivision, and eventually there was a replat that reduced the number of developable lots to 53, and this was done in order to expand the retention pond area to mine shell, and that was approved in April of 2017. On February 9th, 2021, the City Commission approved final engineering plans for phases 3 and 4 of the Mirage Townhome subdivision. And at that time, phases 3 and 4 added an additional 49 lots to the project, and that increased the total number of developable lots within the subdivision from 53 to 102. As of this date, phases 3 and 4 have not been developed. The property is now under new ownership, and on May 25th, 2022, the new owner submitted plans to add an additional 19 lots to the previously approved plans. So this increases the total number of developable lots within the subdivision from 102 to 121. And this item is before the City Commission this evening in order to consider recommending approval or denial, or approving or denying the proposed subdivision revision from 102 townhomes to 121 townhomes. And I'll draw your attention briefly to the current approved overall plan, which each phase has a specific footprint. So phase 4 is 3.14 acres. Phase 3 is 6.02 acres. These footprints are not changing at all. So the additional 19 units, which is going to be 4 units in phase 4 and then 15 units in phase 3, are going to fit within these footprints. There's no changes being made to the pond, no filling in of the pond, no development around the pond other than what is going to fit into these phases 3 and 4. Currently, there are 38 lots in phase 3 and 11 lots in phase 4, and they're proposing to go to 53 lots in phase 3 and 15 lots in phase 4 for a total of 68 lots. Now, keep in mind, these development plans and layouts are only showing phases 3 and 4. You already have 33 lots in Primo Court that have been developed, and then 20 lots along Alabama Those all are also part of the Mirage Townhome subdivision development. But tonight, we're just looking at phases 3 and 4. So that's why these plans are just showing those two phases. So the site is in an R6, low-density multifamily residential zoning district that allows 12 dwelling units an acre for townhomes. But the future land use of phases 3 and 4 is low-density residential, and that only allows a maximum of 6 dwelling units per acre. So the comp plan is what rules, and if the comp plan says that you get 6 dwelling units per net buildable acre, it doesn't matter if the zoning allows more than that. They are limited to 6 dwelling units per net buildable acre. Right now, they're coming in at about 4 dwelling units per net buildable acre. So is it possible that sometime in the future, they could come down the line and say, we want to add more units? It is possible, but that would mean redoing the subdivision, which it would come back before you before that was approved. The project does propose townhomes. The minimum lot size is 1,080 square feet. The proposed townhomes will be a minimum of 900 square feet and a maximum of 35 feet in height. The City of Holly Hill is the provider of water and sewer. These final engineering plans for the subdivision have been provided by a licensed engineer. They've been reviewed by the city, and the city has approved the revised final engineering plans and has no objections to the addition of 19 townhomes. A final plat for the proposed subdivision has not been submitted at this time. When submitted, the plat will be reviewed for consistency and with the final engineering plans, and also Florida Statute Chapter 177 and all other relevant state and local regulations prior to being presented to the City Commission. So you will also see the plat for this. The applicant has been notified that no lots can be sold for the development until such time that the subdivision improvements have been completed, inspected, and approved, unless they decide to bond those improvements, and the subdivision has received final plat approval. On January 11th, the Board of Planning and Appeals did vote unanimously to recommend approval of this revised subdivision plan.
July 11th? January. You said January.
Oh, I meant July. Sorry. Based on that, staff recommends that the City Commission approve the revised preliminary plat, final engineering plans for phases 3 and 4 of the Mirage subdivision. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. And do you know if the applicant is here tonight?
The engineer is.
The engineer? Okay. At this time, we'll allow the applicant, yes, sir. Hold on one second.
Yes, sir.
Brian, I think you said 2007 was when it was originally, did you say it was 161 units before the lake was enlarged?
Yes, 161 units. The plat was approved in January of 2007, and that was then later revised in April of 2017, reduced down to 53 lots so that the pond could be expanded.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. At this time, we'll allow the applicant, if he so wishes, if you want to address the City Commission about anything, you're more than welcome to. And then for this commission, we'll have questions and answers for our staff and for the applicant if you need further clarification after he speaks. Yes, sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Jerry Pianessa, 5711 Richard Street, Jacksonville, Florida. I'm the civil engineer and land planner for the project and representing the applicant this evening. Mr. Walker, thank you for your presentation. I don't have much to add. Brian covered it well. Just to reiterate that the development footprint has already been approved by the city. All we're doing is really we are taking the townhome units themselves, and some of them were on larger lots, like the end units were on much larger yachts, and some of them were 3-bedroom, and we are just compressing those down to some smaller units, and these will all be 2-bedroom townhomes. So that allows us to get a few more units in there, 19 lots across the 2 phases, and we are prepared to get started and submit our plat, cooperate with the city of Holly Hill to give them a stormwater easement so that the city can make their improvements to, I believe, piping and pond that you have planned. And I think that's it. We have recommendation of approval from staff and planning and zoning, so we appreciate your attention to this matter and approval.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Pinessa. And if we have questions for you, we'll call you back up. At this time, I want to ask this commission if there's anyone that has any ex parte communication to declare that now. Seeing none, there's no ex parte communication. And just to remind everyone that we are sitting in a quasi-judicial role here tonight, so our decision has to be made with substantial competent evidence. Mr. Walker, can you please come back up? Mr. Walker, so I want to go over one more thing. The future land use on this property, even though the zoning is technically 12, you can fit 12 units per acre, because it's the low density future land use, that only allows for 6 units per acre, correct?
Yes.
And
Net buildable acre.
And this project is bringing 4 units per acre, which is
Yes.
obviously much less. All right, just wanted to make sure that was in record. And I talked to you earlier a little bit about this, and I wanted you to express here in the public. They have met every requirement that they have to meet, and unless we had substantial competent evidence, we necessarily can't say no to this because of substantial competent evidence. We would have to show legally. Could you expand upon that?
Yes, they are following the comprehensive plan. So when you are making any type of a decision with regard to the comprehensive plan, it's a policy decision. You don't have to, at the time that you're approving the land use or the low-density residential land use, you don't have to approve that, and you really don't need a reason why you're disapproving the land use, because it's a policy decision with the comp plan. But once you do make that decision and you do say, okay, we're going to give this a future land use of low-density residential, then at that point, if they come in with zoning that supports the land use, that supports the comp plan, at that point, you have to have a very good reason to deny it, because they are consistent with the comprehensive plan. So if they come in at 6 dwelling units per net buildable acre, basically, you have to let them do it unless you've really got a strong reason why not.
Okay, thank you very much. And just the other point that I wanted you to address as well, and I believe you said it there. Originally, this was ready for 161 units, and just for clarification purposes, now it would be 121 units. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any further questions for staff? All right. With that, I will now open this up to the public. If there's anyone that would like to speak on this item tonight, please raise your hand. Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to say before I speak, I didn't want to use my time on the 5 minutes. I was told that everything was...
If you could just come to the mic, we could talk.
I have cotton mouth, yeah, excuse me.
It's all good.
Sandra Worthy, 919 Royal Oak Court. I've lived in Holly Hill for over 40 years. I didn't want to use the time that they're starting on now. I was told, the planning department said that everything's going to be explained to me up here, like where the roads are going in, where they're going out. I don't want it used on this 4 minutes.
Okay.
So I can use my questions more appropriately.
So just for clarification here, so Mr. Walker,
I have the plans. I'll be happy to go over them with you. I brought them with me, so I can
Because when I went,
okay.
When
Okay.
I got denied at the office that they're not taking any appointments, no calls, no nothing. So, because I didn't want to come in here like not knowing, like I'm stupid.
Okay, and ma'am, to Sandra, and by the way, I apologize, I did get your voicemail, I'm sorry I didn't give you a call back this week. I know. Online as well, in our agenda, we have all of those that you're looking for, any if you want to see what the plat is and all of that. But at this time, I'll ask Val, could you please pull up that on the screen for us? And don't worry, I'm not taking her time. I'm trying to give her what she wants to see. So, and if you'd like to speak next, you can. But Mr. Walker, if you could come back up here for a moment. And I understand, Mr. Walker, so did you tell this citizen, Mrs. Worley, to come tonight to see this?
Yeah, I actually
specifically?
haven't spoken with Ms. Worley at all.
Okay.
So, ma'am, I didn't get a call from you, I didn't get an email, I got nothing from you at all.
I went to
So,
the
Okay.
office several times.
okay.
All
Well, we have the plans here. These show the basic layout. The reason why the full set is not there is because they're so large that when you try to open the PDF, it just jams, and so it couldn't be loaded. But I have the plans here, the full set of landscape, the full set of engineering plans. For anyone who'd like to see them, I'll be happy to stay and show them to Ms. Worley.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Walker, you said that this will come back to us. Is that the plat?
The plat will come back to you.
Okay, so the plat will come
Right.
back.
This is the final engineering, so you can think of this as the guts, all of your infrastructure and that type of thing. The plat is going to come to you and is going to establish or legally create these lots. Right now, these lots are not legally created, and that's what the plat's going to do. The plat will also legalize easements and then give you, as a commission, the opportunity to either accept responsibility for the easements or not.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Walker. So, Ms. Worley, if you want to come back up. If you'd like to have your public comment, I will give you your 5 minutes now.
Can I just run through my questions and then you answer them? Would that be all right?
You can run through your questions and you can say whatever you would like this commission to know.
All right.
And then, and if there is a certain question that we could have answered for you right away, we'll get that answered to you.
All right. There's 2 oak trees. I want to know if they're going to stay or come down. I want to know how many feet from my home the property is going to go to the edge of it, run abut my property. And then I wanted to know how many roads are in and out on Flomish in Alabama, how many units on the Flomish side will there be? Also, total units, you have to remember that there's going to be 2 cars per unit. I don't care if it's 1 bedroom or 2 bedrooms. So that's going to be a lot of traffic going in out on Flomish, out on Alabama, and going all around that whole little circle over there. A lot. I wanted to know also how much the city is going to be collecting a year for the increase in all this unit. The only reason the city is doing it is for money, basically, to make money on it. It's not for beautification, or they wouldn't, I don't feel that they put that many units in there. Also, who's going to take care of the perimeter, the maintenance on it, and are they going to have a condo association that's going to take care of the property that the people are buying? Also, the other question I had, are some of these meetings being split up by who lives on what side of the, one side of the property and the back side of the property? Are some of these meetings, you've had them before and the others weren't notified, or am I wrong? There's also, from what it looks like there's an eagle's nest, which will have to be, I guess, Fish and Game is going to have to look into it. There's an eagle's nest over there by the Primo property, and there's been an eagle hanging around there. I have a photo of it if you'd like. Basically, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Worley. So you brought up a lot of questions there, and I don't know if staff was keeping track. But we're going to continue on with public comments. I'm going to try to get some of those answered for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Worley. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak to the City Commission about this tonight? All right, seeing none, I'll close public participation. And all those are very valid questions, I will say. I caught a few of them and put it down. I have a question for staff. How was this noticed? She mentioned possibly, can you just go through the notice process for
Yes,
us?
the notice process for the Board of Planning and Appeals is everyone who is within a 300-foot radius of the property gets a letter. For this specific meeting, there is no notification requirement other than just what this standard advertising that goes out for this meeting.
Mhm. And we advertise that in the newspaper and on our website, correct?
It is on the website and the newspaper and also
Meeting. We
well,
don't
not a
advertise.
newspaper for this.
Not for
There is
the
no
item.
second reading
Right,
for this. This is not an ordinance.
Right.
So this specific item probably would not be advertised in the newspaper.
Right.
But it goes out as, with Board of Planning and Appeals, it goes out as a letter that is sent out.
And that is state law, correct?
That is our policy. That
Okay,
is what
which
we do.
follows
It
state.
is not required state law that we send out notifications within a 300-foot radius.
But we do it above state law?
Yes.
Okay. If there was any other questions that you caught that you could quickly answer just before we go ahead and discuss and take a vote, did you catch any of the other?
I'm not aware of an eagle's nest, so that is something that if it is verified that there's an eagle's nest in that area, that's something that the engineer and their team will need to look into. There's, I believe, a 600 or 660-foot radius around an eagle's nest where development could be affected, but that's something that the engineer, their folks would have to verify through having some type of an environmental analysis for listed species.
Another question was, how many turn-ins off of Alabama? There's one, correct?
There's one. There's
And
one
there-
there, and there's one off of Flomich, right? As far as...
Trees and traffic.
Yeah, the traffic count is less than 1,000 trips per day. Our code does not require any type of a traffic study or a traffic impact analysis unless the trip generation report shows that there's going to be more than 1,000 trips per day. The trip generation report that was submitted did not show that with that amount of townhomes, you're going to have more than 1,000 trips per day. So that is not required. As far as the number of townhomes, they actually could have put in many more. So they've actually created and amenitized areas around the lake, which are attractive, and the density, as you see, is less than what they could do. So they're not they're not jamming things in, and it's certainly not any attempt by the city just to try to get more money. This is a developable piece of property. It's had a low-density residential land use for a long time, for many, many years, and it's there for homes or townhomes, and this developer purchased the property and has now developed it, or is proposing to develop it as they see fit.
And she also asked about, do we know if there's an HOA that will take that over? I know that came up in the Board of Planning Appeals meeting.
The HOA documents are not something that need to be presented at this time. Oftentimes, the developer is still working that out. There is an established HOA there. Whether or not that HOA that's established will now take on these additional units and the folks who are buying these units will become part of that HOA is a future decision. There will be some type of an incorporated HOA to take care of the area. Whether or not it's going to be joined with the existing one or a new one is not known at this time. When they come through for the platting process, that's when I'll get more details on what entity is going to be taking care of these units.
Okay. And the statement was made that the city's only doing it for money purposes, but, and this is a question for Mr. Forte or you, Mr. Walker, did we go out actively trying to bring this project in?
No, but it wouldn't be a bad idea even if we did. This project originally started with Mr. Vescovi.
Right.
Back many years ago. He passed away some time ago. He's the one that started this project along with another one up in Flagler County, which was also delayed. This property is zoned for this purpose. We're not changing the zoning. So this isn't anytime somebody develops in the city is going to reap some form of taxation from that. But this property wasn't rezoned or retitled for the sake of the city gaining any additional funds. And I just want to also clarify that there's only one reading on this subdivision. This isn't an ordinance, so this is not coming back to you for a second reading.
But the plat is.
But the plat will come.
Correct. So, and just a little history on this particular project or property. When it was approved at 161 units in 2007, and then we had the downturn, of course, and that project never got off the ground. Going back a little ways, I know when I served as commissioner and when the vice mayor was mayor at the time, when this came to us, we worked with the current developer to actually better that entire area. And the reason why it changed was to help with stormwater. And we brokered a deal to where someone could mine shell and also provide us for that extra stormwater. And Mrs. Worley, we've talked a lot about that. And that area has been greatly impacted by that based on flooding. As you know, that area used to flood. Now we don't see that flooding happening. So that was a good thing about this project, that actually the majority of this commission, we were all here other than one member to do that. And at the time, I remember talking about knowing that something else would come, up to 161 units. So as this comes before me, to see that they are already going under what they can actually build by 40 units and not increasing the square footage of actually what they're taking out, the same footprint there, and able to add that 19 to make it make sense for them. Please remember that this is a private company, this is private land, and we, the city, we would have to purchase that property to be able to do what we wanted on that land. And we're going through the budget process right now, and I can tell you right now, budgeting is so thin. This year, our capital projects, which that would be considered a capital project if this commission wanted to even purchase that property, which wouldn't be possible, but if we had to, we wouldn't be able to afford it. Plain and simple, all stop. So, so we can want a lot of what we want to see, but at the end of the day, people have property rights, and if they are complying, and in this case, they're going well under what they can actually do, I think that's a good project to come before us. So with that, I'll entertain any other questions from the commission, if you have anything for staff or for the... Okay. I hope that answered the majority of your questions, Mrs. Worley. Yes, ma'am. And with that, I will now, we open it up to public comment. So now I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Clarify your motion, please, Mr. Johnson.
I'll make a motion to approve this as is presented by Brian Walker.
Okay. We have a motion for approval. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion for approval from Commissioner Johnson. We have a second from Commissioner Curry. Now we have discussion. I'll allow you to start discussion if you wish.
I think it's a good project, and I think we're doing more and more good projects on Holly Hill, and we need to keep going forward with them.
Thank you, Commissioner. Discussion.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Anybody else?
I just like the fact that they're not over trying to, shove 10 pounds of sugar into a 5-pound bag. I think that says something, and hopefully this will be a good relationship.
All right. And with that, we will go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, The motion carries unanimously. Now I'll move to our communications, and Mr. Forte, I know you have.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Val to pull up an email photo that I had sent to her.
Man, it's cold in here.
I feel good.
Okay, so we talked about putting decorative lighting along Riverside Drive, and originally we talked about doing it between Sunrise Park and the Second Street Park. And actually, the proposal that we have from FPL is to go all the way from the north city limits near Flomish, all the way down to Second Street Park. So, Val, if you go to the email itself just for a moment, and not the picture. I had showed you this before, and if you scroll, it'll be all right. If you just scroll down, you'll see what the light head looks like and what the light pole looks like right there. So that's what'll be lined up along all of Riverside Drive sidewalk. So then the question came to me of, well, how much light is this going to produce and what is it going to look like to the people that live across the street? So I posed that question to Scott from FPL, and now we'll go back to that picture. And he sent a picture of what shows the spillage, where the light spills onto the roadway. And I don't know if you can enlarge that at all.
Yeah, it's hard to see because of the black lines.
There you go. So, the poles line up along the east side of the sidewalk, and the light spills onto the road, and it basically touches the front property lines of the properties on the on the west side of the road. So, I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of that. I'm hoping that everybody that lives along Riverside Drive will see this as an accentuating benefit to the property. It certainly will lighten the area to help reduce crime, if any, occurring in that area. It may encourage more people to walk along that sidewalk, whether they're walking, biking, taking their dog for a walk. I think it's going to certainly be a large beautification to that area. So I wanted to present it to you to see if you had any questions and make sure that you're in favor of us moving forward.
Yes, sir. Vice Mayor.
Joe, the pole showed, I believe, black concrete. Is it going to be painted, or is it a maintenance thing where we have to paint these things every couple of years, or is the concrete black?
No, it's black concrete. You don't want an aluminum or a metal structure because that will peel.
Right.
So concrete is going to sustain more. I don't know what the maintenance on it is going to be. It's minimal. It's not our responsibility. And that's a good point. The maintenance is on FPL. They will maintain the poles. We will pay a maintenance fee to them and the actual electric bill, and then everything is on them after that. And this is all because it's a solid black concrete. Right. It's
For
not
the record,
painted. It's solid
Antoine Curry
concrete.
said the color will not change.
Yeah. Yes, it's a solid concrete. And then we're also changing out, putting light poles in Ross Point Park that'll go around the circle, and we're changing the heads inside of Sunrise Park so that you won't see that on this particular map, but that'll all be done and look uniform.
Yes, sir.
I just wonder, I think it's a great idea, but should we advertise this before are we taking are we just giving you direction, or is this formal action now, or?
Well, it's kind of, you kind of already gave me the direction to move forward, but when the question came up, I figured I'd just bring it to everyone's attention. The risk that you have is if you want to poll the people that live on Riverside Drive, it's kind of like, I'll go back to what the pastors were talking about, the destruction of Gomorrah. Are you going to destroy the city because there are 50 innocent people there and it got down to 10? Well, are you going to cancel this project if 50% of the people don't like it? Or are you going to cancel the project if 10% of the people don't like it? Or you cancel the project because one person doesn't like it? So you kind of have to make a decision. Are you going to say no because one person doesn't like it, or are you going to proceed and say this is a direction that you want to go? It's a city road, it's a city sidewalk, it's a beautification project. So you got to be careful asking a question like that.
I just don't feel as though the light would be coming off of those enough for, I mean, it shines out into the road, which is great, because it gives more light to the roadway as well.
And the sidewalk.
But I don't know that it's really going to be intrusive to the homeowners if the lighting only comes out
Not
to
going
the
to
roadway.
shine into their property, but, you know, a complaint that I received when FPL changed out to the LED lights was that light across the street is so bright, I can see it. Not that it shines in my house, but I can see it, and some people didn't particularly like that. Now, I only had, I think, 2 complaints when they changed out all the lights throughout the city, but it was still 2 complaints.
I just think not only aesthetically, and I know that was our main goal, but safety-wise, that bike path is used by so many people in this city, not just Riverside Drive residents. I mean, the entire city. People bike on it, people walk on it, jog on it, whatever activity they have for the outside. And I see that as being more of a safety issue with the lighting now across that bike path, and a more of a benefit to that side than a hindrance to the homeowners. I just don't see that outweighing the safety side of it.
I mean, that's the definition of a walkable area, when you start to illuminate a
Exactly.
sidewalk.
Exactly.
Joe, which park did you say Ross Point or Sunrise?
Sunrise Park, the heads will be changed out, but not the poles, but Ross Point will get new poles and heads. We already have concrete poles inside of Sunrise Park. We didn't feel the need to, it would cost us to remove them and put different.
Got it.
Mr. Daniel?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I think that stretch of Riverside is like, dark. I mean, that's our signature stretch in Riverside. I mean, it's right there, and this would just accent it and accentuate it. I mean, the only thing I was going to ask you, Joe, is there a wattage type thing that could be changed in the event?
You're kind of buying in now.
No, I mean, like, let's say the lights are 50 watt and you want 30 watt, or
You'd
I
have
don't
to change the bulb. The only thing I can tell you, and I forgot the location, John, you may remember, that these are going to be the same lights that Daytona Beach has along one of their
like
sidewalks.
Beach Street or something?
The new park.
Oh, on Beach Street?
The new park on Beach Street has
Yeah.
these lights.
Yeah,
So it's going to be the same as what they have there. So
I
it's
think
not a bright, it's not a daylight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
it's
think
not
it's great.
It's not a street light.
I
It's
think
not
it,
like
I think it's going to class it up. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
it's great.
these poles are not 30 feet in the air,
Right.
you know, so.
Well, and we all remember where this originated from, and we've talked about this. I have received multiple complaints. I know all of you have, about how dark it is and how some people don't feel safe when it's very dark and walking along that path or riding a bike along that path. And so, first and foremost, we are here about safety. Second off, this will illuminate that path, and it is going to be gorgeous at night. It is one of the best scenic drives that we certainly have, and to accentuate that, and I still believe that it's a great project, and I know many of those residents have been calling for exactly this for several years. So I still think it's a great project. I think that it should move forward.
I agree.
Yeah, me too.
Well, the more light, the better.
Yeah.
Daytime is safer than nighttime. What does that tell you? That?
So by consensus, we're going to go ahead.
We've already approved this, right? Okay, so
Yeah, this has already been approved.
Yeah, so there's no objection to proceeding.
no objection to
Not
proceed.
from me.
All right, the next thing I wanted to just update you on is our Tyler conversion. You know, we're still going through the growing pains of converting our enterprise software program. The staff, Stella and the staff, have been doing a great job in trying to put that together and working with the conversion team. We have a utility billing is operating on the new system. There's still some bugs that are being worked out, but our next major conversion is going to be the general ledger and the payroll system. And that's going to take place Next Wednesday, we're going to upload some information, but then we're going to have to shut down Thursday, Friday, and the following Monday, the 3rd, 4th, and 8th of August. That means we're not going to be able to take any utility bill payments. We're not going to be able to take building department payments, permit payments. So we've advertised it out, we put it on the sign, we put it on the website. I just want you all to be aware that in case anybody asks you, it's a temporary shutdown. While we're shut down from that, the staff will be doing their training to, better learn the system. We're also in the process, as part of this conversion, we'll be going with a MyCivics app for cell phones, and that'll give residents an opportunity to be able to have all the same features as the website, but it'll have other features that will give an opportunity for citizens to report an issue, take a photo, it gets sent into, if it's an animal issue, it'll go to animal control. If it's a public works issue, it may go to Steve or somebody over there, Sean.
Can I interrupt you a second just to point out, you and I discussed this this morning after I arrived back in town, and you indicated that we did not make anyone's bill due during these days
That's
for
correct.
that purpose.
Amanda took the time to rearrange the due dates of the bills so that they wouldn't be due on those dates that were closed. So hopefully people will come in before their bill is due or when it's due after August the 8th.
I just think that was something awesome that was done, thinking outside of the box, so that, people didn't have to worry about those days. So I just wanted to point that out. That was a good job.
And along with those days, are we going to advertise to our customers that that's happening? Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to show you is I met with Natasha, who is the artist that painted the bridge over on Daytona Avenue, and I've been talking to her about a project painting the two bridges on Ridgewood over the canal. And she came in with a half a dozen pretty nice ideas that I wanted to show you and have you pick one that we could move forward with. But she didn't email
I was going to say,
I was getting ready to say, where are they?
That's going to take a workshop, man. That's
Yeah, right.
She didn't email this.
Since I saw you earlier, I was like, wait a minute.
So just to give you an idea, some of them, because it's a much shorter wall, it's got challenges. You don't have a big canvas, so to speak. So she presented a couple of ideas that showed kind of like large leaf, almost looked like your close-up of a forest. And instead of seeing a whole animal, you see just the eye of a tiger or the eye of a macaw bird or something. Or it was kind of unique. It's kind of like you squeezed it in and you got this, like you're looking through the woods and you're seeing these animals in there. And another one, she actually wrote Holly Hill out with other animals on there. But within the writing of Holly Hill, there were flowers and birds and animals. And it was just very talented. It's pretty cool.
Well, look at the bridge back here on
Yeah.
Daytona. I mean, that's gorgeous.
I want to get these out to you and get your thoughts to see which one you like and which one you don't. She did have one that was cute, but I didn't like it. It was kind of like, what is the Mario Brothers, the coins, and then it's kind of looked like that, but it's a nice idea, but that's not the right location.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll get them to you in the next day or two, and maybe you can just let me know your thoughts, and we can make a decision to pick one of these. I'd like to get it done in this budget year while the money is in the budget, and
Yeah, looking forward to seeing those, and glad that we are beautifying anything we possibly can within our means, so.
Agreed.
That's going to be a great location to do it there.
Good.
That's all that I have for tonight.
That's all you have? All right, thank you. Let me go back very quick, Mr. Forte, and we briefly talked about this, and I meant to bring it up when we were speaking about the lights going up along Riverside Drive. We also talked about, I talked to a citizen after our last meeting who had a good idea, I believe, to have more trash cans out there to hopefully reduce the amount of trash that we are seeing litter along Riverside Drive. And as you all know, we now have a trash pickup person in the city, and
Litter
so.
control. Litter control.
He's amazing.
It's what? Say that again?
Litter control.
Litter control, okay. Sorry, I shouldn't say trash person, that's terribly said. I apologize. Litter control person.
Sanitational engineer.
And no offense, we have I almost said a trash guy. You're not a trash guy.
No, he's a sanitational engineer.
Garbage man, there we go. So I figure once, I know he's got a lot of work to get to where, everything is calm and normal because he's got catch-up work. But at that point, maybe he could be assigned to pick up the trash cans along Riverside Drive if we were to put more of them out.
And as you mentioned, if somebody thinks there's a need for another one of those containers, they can certainly contact my office and we'll see if we can put one in. I think we still have some of those containers.
Yep.
But what we don't want is an overabundant amount of trash cans.
Yeah. But there may be some places, so I just want to throw it out to the commissioners to keep your eyes and ears open, and I think it's a good idea, and we should try to do that. And so I wanted to bring that up tonight, and I also wanted to let the commission be aware of this, and I just wanted to thank staff. I wanted to thank Mr. Forte, and I wanted to thank Mr. Walker, and he's not here tonight, but Mr. Simpson, our attorney, because after last meeting, as you recall, we had two citizens who were very passionate about something and wanted to talk, and I know that staff has, before that, put in hours and hours and hours of their time to go over that issue and to deal with that. But after that meeting, I asked that they would stay behind and explain it even further, and we all stayed over an hour to discuss that with them, and we may have not gotten to the conclusion that they were hoping for, but they were very transparent, they were very truthful and forthcoming, and they spent a lot of their time. I'm sure you all promised your wives that you would be home early because we had almost nothing on the agenda. I promised mine I'd be home early, but you all stayed well after, and I really appreciate you taking the time with the citizens to speak like that. So I wanted to publicly thank them for that. And I also wanted to talk tonight about, we approved the contract for the Veterans Memorial today, so we have that moving forward. And I know at the previous meeting, I listened back and I heard to talk about, we should probably have a workshop on what we exactly want to go on that memorial. And there was something that came up with Mr. Forte, a conversation that he spoke with a person and explained that we had this Veterans Memorial coming forward, and they had said, is so-and-so going to be on it? And he said, well, certainly. And he said, well, he lived in the unincorporated portion of Holly Hill, but his whole life he grew up in Holly Hill. Would he be on it? In my vision, I would say yes. I don't think we want to exclude anyone just because if they, in that situation, as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, they grew up in Holly Hill, they were Holly Hillian, and before they went away to war and gave their life for our country, they had moved into the unincorporated part, still Holly Hill, a lot of people call that, even though it's unincorporated. And so I think on those matters, we need to be more flexible, more gray. The problem we'll have is going way, way back. Some people may have said their address was Daytona, and I think that's why it's important to get the word out to everybody. If you know anyone or a family member that lived in Holly Hill and gave their life for this country, we want to honor them and put their name in stone at City Hall. And so I think that that's important to get that word out there as well. So that will come through the process. I don't think we need a committee to determine if someone's in or not. I think it's more yes than no. If they considered themselves a Holly Hillian, then I believe they should go on there. So, and if you all want to comment on that now, we can, or we could honestly set up a workshop and talk more. We got to talk more about what the actual words are that are going to go on it. And I would request we all come with ideas and we flesh it out, and best ideas win, and we go from there. Is anyone in objection to that? Yes?
I'd like to keep this moving forward. Maybe we could have that work session in August, because once I give them the okay, they're going to go ahead and get the granite ordered, and I don't want them to have the granite on the engraving machine and then they're waiting on us. So the sooner we can do it, the better. And I think, Mayor, to your point, I think no one will ever complain that we put a name on there in error, as opposed to them complaining that we forgot to put a name.
Leaving it off, yeah. I agree. All right. So can we do something in August? Is anyone opposed to that?
Would you also like a representative from maybe the DAV or the Legion to join us in?
That's a good idea. Yeah, we should. We definitely should.
I think we should include those organizations that are within our city.
Yes.
Commander comes in all the time for lunch, I can ask him to
Yes,
sit in.
if you could.
Sure.
Yeah. If no one's opposed to that, yeah, let's have them come to the table with their ideas as well. More than welcome. So,
It'll have to be the second meeting in August.
are you gone the first? Okay. What if we had an off-commission night meeting?
That's fine.
So maybe you could get with us on our schedules, and maybe it could be during the day as well.
Okay.
So just get with us individually on a good time frame, and then we'll notice the meeting and make sure it's done.
I might give Roy a day off.
All right.
Give you a day off.
The
come to a daytime
the other
work
thing I wanted to mention, and I don't know if I can or not, so I'm looking at our police chief. Is it public what's happening at? No,
the training.
Training.
Oh, yeah, it's public.
Training? Would you like to say anything about it tonight? I think it's important for the community to know.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
But hey, thanks for thinking of the worst things, though.
Pardon me, sir?
Thanks for thinking of the worst.
Don't worry about it. Just-
Chief Miller, Holly Hill Police Department, tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday night. Every member of the Holly Hill Police Department that's a sworn officer, including myself, will be participating in active shooter, active killer training at the Holly Hill School. It is not open to the public. We're not going to air our videos, and so I know some departments are doing that. We're not giving the bad guy,
I was gonna say.
more ammunition to study our tactics, but we're doing that. We're piggybacking on some active shooter training we did a couple months ago at a police firearms course, and with dealing with situations like that. So be doing that for the next 3 days.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you.
I wanted to point that out because I met with the chief and Mr. Forte and Captain Yates, and we met with our new principal at Holly Hill School, and BJ, and we had a very, very good meeting, and I just wanted to thank the chief and our administration as well for taking this very serious, to make sure we have a plan in place so the worst can't happen, or if it does, we at least know the best way to respond to it, because there's nothing more important than the safety of our children. And I can tell you that I know that that's the chief's goal, and I appreciate you, Chief, for taking that upon yourself, putting it on your shoulders, and making sure that this training happens. And thank you to Mr. Forte for pushing that forward as well. So I just wanted to discuss that before the City Commission, and that's all I have tonight. And so now we will start on this way and come this way around. So we'll start with you, Mr. Johnson.
Well, because I'm wearing red.
Because you're wearing red, you're the target.
I don't have anything tonight, except I don't think we have a TPO meeting. They canceled in July, I believe, so nothing to take to them tomorrow. And I'm just so glad the city's moving forward on projects and doing good, and we get a lot of good compliments on it. I really like it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Daniel?
No, I'm okay.
All right. Commissioner Curry?
The only thing I have is I just need to let you guys know I'm not attending the Florida League of Cities Conference. I'm unable to attend, so I had Valerie cancel for me.
Is it, no one's going to that, right?
No.
Okay. Vice Mayor?
I don't know if I brought this up, so if I did, I apologize for bringing it up again. We talked a lot about Riverside Drive, and I live 100 feet from Riverside Drive. That sidewalk is one of the best things that this commission ever did, but there's a problem. It hasn't become quite a problem yet, but it's going to become a problem. It's the speed of electric or motorized vehicles on that sidewalk. There's skateboards, one-wheels, and e-bikes that are going faster than the traffic. I don't know if we can exclude them from that sidewalk or put a speed limit on that sidewalk, but someone is gonna get hurt. A pedestrian's gonna get hit by one of them, or they're gonna crash on that sidewalk. It's gonna be ugly.
I think technically the width of that sidewalk dictates its usage. It's not a multimodal sidewalk. So I don't think, and I'll have to double check with the size of that sidewalk, which I think it's only 6 or 8 feet wide, as opposed to 10 or 12 or 16 feet, which you're not really supposed to ride a bike on a sidewalk.
But the e-bikes are becoming ever
Right.
present, and they're going 30 miles an hour.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a law or a rule, but we can certainly do an education program out there that if we see it, we could, you know, the street is a share the road street.
Right.
It's supposed to share the road with bikers, walkers, scooters, whatever else is out there. So we could really direct them to the road.
I don't know the solution, I just know there's a huge potential for a big accident.
We'll look into it.
Hey. To what do we owe the honor of our former city finance director, and now newly appointed city manager
No, he's
of Daytona Beach Shores? Oh, okay, all right.
quiet like a-
And now you're not incognito, now I pointed you out. Sorry, Kurt. Good to have you back, though. Welcome home.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Vice Mayor. With that, we remind the commission we have another workshop now coming up about Waste Pro. Let's take a 5-minute recess, and then we will start the workshop. Or not recess, I'm sorry. Is there any further business before the city commission? Seeing none, the city commission meeting is adjourned.
See you, Scotty.